For many years, both the promise and the persecution of the Burmese people has been symbolized by Aung San Suu Kyi as the daughter of Burma's founding father and a fierce advocate for her fellow citizens. She's endured prison and house arrest, just as so many Burmese have endured repression.
I created an image of Aung San Suu Kyi, the Freedom to Lead image, pushing democracy and human rights in Burma. Part of the reason for making this stuff was to increase awareness in the West and put diplomatic pressure. Aung San Suu Kyi is the daughter of Aung San, who first achieved independence for Burma and was assassinated. And Aung San Suu Kyi had a very activist, powerful mother, and she really grew up dealing with all the issues in Burma, but also living in England and learning about Western culture as well. And she is an incredible bridge to the Western world for what's going on in Burma, and has been a really powerful leader for democracy in Burma. She returned to Burma in 1988, created the Democracy Party there, and was democratically voted to be the leader, but was then put under house arrest and has been under house arrest off and on for about 16 of the last 22 years.
Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi is once again free. She also said her release shouldn't be viewed as a major breakthrough. However, leaders from around the globe are hailing her newfound freedom.
Her philosophy and her action is the perfect balance of, a faith that justice will prevail in time, but also an action, an endeavor to make it happen. That everyone needs to both believe in the right things, but also to work hard to achieve the right things.
Yeah, she has been a really ideal person for our Burmese people. She is also widely known as a democracy leader in Burma. Many people in Burma have realized that she can be a good leader in the future.
When I first introduced the class and I was explaining street art, I had the Freedom to Lead image, and I explained that this could be done with stencil. You could do it as a T-shirt. You could mimeograph it and put it as a poster and stick it up somewhere. And all of these things would be different forms of street art. You'd be taking art out into the public, and then to be able to connect that to a real artist in the West. Many people had seen the image, but they had no idea who had created it. Having a name, having a class or a situation where they were going to be diving into that, opened them to see that there was another person out there in the West who was aware.
So this Aung San Suu Kyi photo are everywhere, because this is an painter is not artist is not from our country. At the time we are very proud of her. People also very proud of this picture. Yeah, Shepherd Ferry donate for our library, so we can sell it and we can share to other people. Thank you, Shepherd Ferry.
She has to be able to own her future, so freedom to lead for her is very necessary. I want to create this kind of image.
I admire her and I support her completely. She will be a best creator for Burma future.
I think no matter who you are, if you are a man or a woman, if you are passionate, if you are skillful, you can be whatever leader, even the head of the country.
she gave a really amazing speech in 1990 called Freedom from Fear. It's really about the concept of people not doing the things they believe in because they're fearful of retribution, and the people in power fearing that they'll lose that power and oppressing everyone else. And that it's not power that corrupts, it's fear that corrupts. It really, is about being imprisoned in your mind if you're fearful.
For me, real freedom is freedom from fear. I was a prisoner, but I felt that I was free because I was not frightened. And I thought that a lot of people who were out there were living in such difficult circumstances. Perhaps they were less free than I was. Perhaps they were frightened. And if they were frightened, they were certainly less free than I was. And unless you can live free from fear, you cannot live a dignified human life. It's not possible. The Burmese people are not the kind who easily take up arms and start creating riots in the streets. But I think there's a limit to everybody's patience. And there's an expression in Burmese, "Dematum nematum," which means it makes no difference whether we live or die. If people come to the point where they feel that it makes no difference whether they live or die, then I think things could get bad.
I really admire Aung San Suu Kyi. She's made tremendous sacrifice personally to try to improve the situation in Burma. She could have been let out of house arrest if she left Burma, but she probably wouldn't have gained re-entry into the country, and she chose to deal with her situation in Burma for the sake of the people.
The first hint that things might be changing came when the regime approached Suu Kyi, inviting her back into the political process.
The dialogue between the government and Aung San Suu Kyi has begun. The government has released some political prisoners. So taken together, these are the most important steps toward reform in Burma that we've seen in years.